did not work. Okay, so it's okay. Mental note that I'll have slightly more audio. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. So
We're here.
we're here. You're here. Thank you for being here. Been trying. We're doing good. We're getting on schedule, kind of.
No, we're not. We're not. We're really either. We would just like to pretend we are.
And that's kind of what we were going to talk about tonight is, a couple of things. It's like people, in general, we've noticed that going around town and interacting with humans,
Always roll of the dice, that one.
always a roll of the die. And this is what drives, when you're dealing with machinery or computers or people that are neurodivergent, A plus B equals C. Mm-hmm. But when you're dealing with the general public, A plus B equals potato.
Right.
Or alfalfa sprout. Or clock.
That's assuming there's an A plus B and it's not like, 6 plus, pumpkin or something.
Yeah. So the square root of pi. And, well, I mean, just, person, event, outcome.
Mm-hmm.
A person plus event equals outcome, and a person will have different outcomes depending on their mood.
No, person plus response equals outcome.
Right. How they respond to an event. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
interacting with public, and we saw this a lot in our Amway days. People can't keep commitments. We've seen that with our birthday gatherings, with Amway, with things.
Just people coming over, friends, supposedly. And just, to disclaimer, this is our old person rant video. So
it's a little bit of old person rant, but also a little bit of critiquing society of, come on, people, we could do better than this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, like, for example, last Friday, Lily had her annual physical. I got no less than 4 texts in the week leading up to Lily's physical reminding me that Lily had a physical on Friday.
4. Because people forget, people flake out, people just no show, and they have to keep reminding you. Well, every week they remind everyone when early dismissal is, and it's on the same day every week.
Every Tuesday, unless it's like a 3-day weekend or something.
Yeah.
Every week that's a full 5-day schedule at Lily's school, every Tuesday the kids get out an hour early. And every single Tuesday I receive a text from the school, reminder, early dismissal today. Or if there was a 4-day school week, I get a text on Tuesday, reminder, normal dismissal today. Because people can't remember things. And, I get it. Life is fast paced, especially if you're a working parent.
Yeah, which a lot of people
A lot of them are. Yeah, I can always distinguish between the parents that have to go to work after they drop off their kids and the parents that are just going to go back home. Because the ones that are going to work are actually dressed. The ones that are going back home are usually in their pajamas. So...
Yeah, that was the
second. And it's about
50-50. Yeah, that was kind of the second thing
we'll get into that later. Yeah. But yeah, if you're a working parent and you're probably under a lot of stress, a lot of deadlines and stuff like that, sometimes it's easy to forget.
Yeah.
But, like just, going and hanging out with friends. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, a friend was supposed to come over a couple weeks ago and pick something up and he flaked.
Yeah, I was going to give him free stuff. And he flaked out on me. But
you know who you are.
Yeah. Well, that's assuming he watches, which he better be.
Probably doesn't. But, yeah, people don't keep committed. And that's something I saw a lot on U-Haul too. When I worked at U-Haul and storage, you'd make appointments with these people to come, rent a storage or rent a U-Haul. No call, no show. You try and call them to see if they're coming. Don't answer the phone. It's like, dude, if you wanted to cancel, just call and let us know. That way we could have set somebody else up.
Yeah.
We weren't going to hold it against you.
I mean, that is literally why doctor's offices charge when people no call, no show.
Mm-hmm.
When you miss your appointment, doctor's offices charge like 50, 75?
75, maybe more.
Maybe more? Yeah. It's whatever they feel like charging you for ghosting them.
Yeah, because that's a spot that somebody else who may have really needed that appointment could have used.
Yeah.
Some other, customer that they could have got insurance money for. So they're going to charge you what they would have gotten from that insurance money.
Yeah. Yep. And it's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's that bad. And just showing up.
But the whole doctor charging you thing has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like since, I was a kid, they would do that. But yeah, it's more
prolific now.
Yeah.
It's far more often. And when people actually do show up, and this is something that I see a lot at work. I usually try to speak highly of my guys at work, but
bless them.
Bless them. Bless their pea hickin' hides. They're just kind of average, and average has gone down. It ain't where it used to be. Because me and the other Mark were kind of talking about this. Now, he's a quiet guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's very kind of reserved, very introverted. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't really speak out,
mm-hmm.
especially about other people's things. It takes a lot to rankle him. It takes a lot to rankle him even more to where he feels comfortable enough to complain to someone else about, are you seeing this too?
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one that notices this catastrophe happening here?
Yeah.
And I could
it's
tell.
like, this feels like it's not normal, but you guys are all acting like it's normal.
Right. And I could tell he was just like really agitated about this. And he's come up to me a few times. He feels comfortable with me. Which, I take that as a pride of honor. And it's like, this guy's really introverted and he feels like he can open up to me. It's like, wow, man.
Yeah. That's good.
I must be doing something right, I guess. People don't show up on time. Most of our shop does not show up on time. Work is 8 to 5. We get guys rolling at like 8:15, 8:20, 8:45.
Whenever they darn will feel like it.
We had 2 of them that recently quit. And these guys were showing up, whenever. It's like, must be nice to be a part-time guy.
Right?
I mean...
It must be nice to be special. You don't have to follow the rules.
Yeah. And most of them, I know where these guys live, at least approximately.
And it's not far.
Not far.
Yeah, in fact, the one that works like furthest away is always there on time.
2 of them.
2 of them, yeah.
There's 2 of them that live out in Madeira, and they still manage to get here on time. And it's like, and that's actually in their interest because they have, in order to get their 8 hours, they show up on time. Both, one of them takes a shorter lunch, and that way they can leave at 4. Show up at 7, leave at 4. That way they're still getting their 8 hours in.
But beating the 5 o'clock rush.
Yeah, the morning and evening traffics.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. You see, when you grow up, you realize these things. You make these calculations. And, that's something, getting more to your point, something I see a lot, there are some people where it is impossible for them to get somewhere on time.
Yeah.
My mom, God bless her, was one of them. We were always running late for something. And did they change their routine? Did they wake up earlier? Leave earlier? Did they do anything to change this? No.
Nope. Nope.
It's just being late became such a part of our lives that we just kind of rolled with it.
Just got used to it.
Yeah. And me and my brother, we were always ready to go.
Yeah.
We were always just waiting on my mom. My grandma was the exact same way. They'd be like going to church or out to eat or something, my grandpa would be walking to the car saying, "So we're leaving, whether you're in that car or not." My grandma comes out with her arms full of makeup and does her makeup in the car real quick, you know.
Foundation on the sun visor.
All over the passenger seat, really. But yeah, my grandma and my mom, they could not get anywhere on time.
Nope.
And like as they were reaching, getting to their later years before, reaching the end of their lives, and I was driving them to appointments, like they would have a 9 o'clock appointment. I would show up at their house, at 8:45, just enough time for me to pick them up and get to the appointment. And my grandma's still in her pajamas. It's like, "Mima, you have an appointment in 15 minutes. She's like, "Oh, I guess I better go get dressed then."
You think?
Some people are just wired like that. They've got no sense of urgency, no sense of other people's time, and no sense of the fact that I need to be somewhere at a certain time.
Yeah. Oh, our friend's mom.
Yeah. Has no concept of time whatsoever. On time is when she gets there, and she might not get there.
I mean, this has become such a thing in the general public, the world at large, that some people, and I'm going to pick on Gen Z a little bit because Gen Zs have termed this coin of time blindness.
Okay.
And some of them, their mental disorder runs deep enough and their narcissism runs strong enough, they expect others to cater to their mental condition or their, this.
Oh, so they made always running late into a mental condition so that they can get people to pander to them?
Yes! Or at least they're trying to. I don't think it's in the DSM just yet. But they're trying to coin this phrase, time blindness, and make it sound like it's a neurological disorder. These people that just cannot fathom reading a clock and figuring out time. That
okay.
if it's 12 o'clock and I need to be over there by 1 o'clock and it takes me 30 minutes to do it, I need to leave here in 30 minutes at approximately 12:30.
You see this? Everyone's got one of these, and every single one of these has an alarm clock on it. Several. I've got like 4 alarms on this every day. One to pick up Lily from school, one to or to leave to pick up Lily to school, one to pick up Lily to school, one to tell Lily to go to bed. Anything else I need done during the day, I set an alarm on my phone. So they have no excuse.
Clock apps come free with your phone, people.
Every single one's got one.
We have the technology.
And that's what a lot of people, rely on this as their alarm clock. They do not have a physical alarm clock. They just use their phone.
Correct.
And their excuse is always, "My phone died in the middle of the night."
Yeah. Yeah. Ow. Table there. Table like
Table.
That. But yeah, a couple of young people I've worked with, and that was their excuse why they were late. It's like, dude, just go to a thrift store, spend $5.
Dude, my alarm clock literally cost $5.
Yeah.
At Walmart.
Get a $5 alarm clock from a thrift store. Or if you want to be fancy, go to Walmart or Target and spend maybe $10, $15 and get a new one. Doesn't matter. Get a physical alarm clock, plug it into the wall, and there you go.
The only way it'll not work is, 1, if you don't set it, or 2, if the power goes out. And usually if the power goes out, you wake up and figure it out. It
most
wakes you
people
up.
notice, yeah.
Yeah, most people notice when the power goes out.
Even I, who am a dead sleeper, notice that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, last time power went out, you noticed before I did. I was out that night.
No, you were sleeping good.
Yeah. It's like I woke up to you talking to Lily in the bedroom. I was like, wait, what? What happened? Where's the fan? Where's my... Oh my God, the power's out.
Yeah, it really confused her.
Confused me too. But anyway, yeah. So there really is no excuse as to get into an appointment or work on time. It's like, okay, sometimes life happens.
You left on time. You're doing good. You got your stuff together. You left on time and flat tire.
Or for example, today our Lily's therapist, she wanted to, or her therapist supervisor wanted to make sure she was here on time to start session at 3:00. So she left a half hour earlier to make a 15-minute trip. And an accident happened in front of her. And she got here right at 3:00. But because she left early, she still made it.
She is reliably punctual.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
She is awesome. But, yep, when it comes to, social engagements.
Yeah.
And this is something that, Gen Z is really bad about, because we have a niece who's 20 years old. 19 years old. But anyway, she wanted to do things with her friends when she was, in junior high, 6th grade, junior high. She was wanting to like get together, have like sleepovers for her birthday, slumber parties, stuff like that. And no one showed up. They all called with the same excuse. My mom said I can't go. Yeah. And all her plans fell through. It just really made her mad, because she'd go to hang out with their friends and they're all just, on their phone doing.
They're all FaceTiming.
Yeah. They're not FaceTiming each other. They're just, sitting in the same room doing something completely different, on social media. And that's what hanging out is now. It's not to talk to or spend time with these other people. It's to do what you would have done alone in your room. It's just somebody else is there with you.
I see, and that has contributed heavily to people developing social anxieties.
Yeah, how can you know how to act in public when you never go in public or talk to people?
Right.
And I mean, it's become normalized.
Two of our other friends are that way, Dandruff and his girlfriend.
Yeah, and
they have
my other friend, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one that was supposed to come get free stuff and flaked out. We're
We
going to codename him Dandruff because he's
so flaky.
Yeah,
he always bails out, and it's always because of work because of strep throat. It's always strep throat. Every time he calls in, he's like, "Oh, I got strep throat." It's like, dude, you've had strep throat like 4 times in the last year.
Well, I guess, it's like I really missed the opportunity to tease him about taking it a little too deep there at work. It's like, dude, tell your manager to ease up once in a while.
Does your girlfriend know about this?
Or, she gets social anxiety. If she goes somewhere and she's going to meet new people, she gets really nervous. It's like,
that's normal. That's normal, though. It's always a little bit scary going to a place where you don't know anybody and having to meet new people. But
you got to do it.
You do it because you still need to go for one reason or another, or you promised you would, or No one keeps promises anymore.
And even I'm not immune to that. I'm semi-outgoing.
You're incredibly outgoing compared to me. I mean, I'm very introverted, but I'll still talk to people.
Yeah. I can give an easy example of a time when I was like, okay, this is either going to be okay or this is going to be really bad. When the wind knocked our fence over and I had to go talk to our neighbor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, are they going to be like super mad and not help us at all? Or are they going to be nice and be like, okay, yeah, let's do this?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm your neighbor behind you. I came to ask you about helping us,
what to do about that fence.
So we're going to have to spend some money. It's like, I'm going to go talk to this person and then convince them to spend money with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily it turned out really great because she was very sweet.
Yeah.
And her mom was her landlord, and she called her mom. Her mom was already working on it. And with a couple of her brothers and Mark, spent an afternoon fixing that fence.
Yeah. Cool guys.
Yeah, they were really nice.
And so, it could have gone really bad.
Yeah,
it could have been okay.
Yeah.
It turned out to be really great. But, even I'm not immune because I had to I was kind of talked myself out of going and talking to them and just like, maybe I'll just finish the fence myself. That'll just be easier. It's like, no, go do this. It's like, because even I, for all of my bluster, I'm not immune to that. And you're right. It is a human thing of, I'm going to go engage with this person.
I don't know them.
I don't know anything about them.
Except for where they live.
And where they live. I have no frame of reference on how to communicate with this person. One thing that helped me a lot is, like when I was driving Lyft, I've had you're just dealing with people a lot. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helps me be more outgoing, more extroverted. And it's actually kind of against my nature. I am somewhat introverted.
It's like, well, ever since the arcade, you haven't had a job where you had to engage with your customers.
Right.
So like, whereas, I was working in an office, so I had to talk to people more, but it's still really hard for me.
Yeah. And I'm okay at work because I can deal with the same people, even the ones I don't like. It's kind of okay because it's familiar. It's kind of like, when somebody hits their head on the same pole every time, they're like, you'd think I'd learn to avoid that pole by now. Yeah, quick reference, I guess. I don't know. But, it's easy for me to deal with them, any sort of anxiety I have around them, because they're familiar. When you're dealing with unfamiliar with people, it's harder. Mm-hmm. It's almost nails on a chalkboard. Mm-hmm. And I was always kind of awkward as a kid. I didn't have a lot of friends, and all through school. Mm-hmm. Very short list of people that I actually associated with, and an even shorter list of people I would actually say were friends. Mm-hmm. So I kind of carried through into adulthood, and I think that that's kind of normal.
I think that kind of helped, having that kind of, way of doing things in high school, like, having a shorter, more tight-knit group of friends helps us when you get older, because you realize that as you get older, popularity don't mean diddly squat.
Not really.
And what really matters is the quality of friendships you have, because they're the ones that are going to be there for you, help you out. They're not going to stab you in the back. Yeah. So you've learned through your awkwardness in your teen years, which everyone's got awkward teen years, let's just face it. When you're awkward in your teen years, you learned how to cultivate the more meaningful friendships.
Yeah.
And I'm still friends with people I met in high school.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 25 years.
I ditched all my high school people. So you're actually a way better at keeping friends than I am, because
that's because it's so hard for me to make new ones. So I keep the ones I got.
I can make new ones, and then it's all transitional for me, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm that way, but I am. That it's just I just sort of taper off and fade away out of these people's lives. I've tried to not do that, but it's kind of hard for me.
It also depends on the people you're talking to also, or the people you consider your friends also, because if they're huge flakes, then yeah, you guys are going to grow apart. And let's just face it, men don't talk on phones like women do.
True. Men are not nearly as social, not the social animal that women are.
Yeah, whereas I don't really talk on the phone that much, but I will text my friends every day. I get together with one once a week just to catch up. So women are more sociable when talking to each other, whereas men are just okay with being around each other.
We like to sit in our caves.
Yeah. So It is a little bit harder for men to be social.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you call up your friend just to talk, and they're like, what do you want? I just want to talk. About what?
That is why men go out to get beer.
Yes, that is the equivalent.
That's why bars continue to exist.
That is the equivalent of women calling and just talking to each other. Like yesterday, I was doing some cleaning in the house, and one of my friends called me, and I just put it on speakerphone and was talking to her while I was cleaning. And before we knew it was lunchtime, we'd been on the phone for 2.5 hours. And I was like, "Oh, honey, we got to get lunch." She's like, "Yeah, and we've got to pick up the kids soon." I better let you go. Because that's just a woman thing, Whereas men, yeah, they go to the bar and maybe they'll talk to each other. I'm not saying men don't have lasting friendships. They do.
Yeah. It's just different.
Yeah. It's different for men than for women, I think.
Yeah, it really is. A great, fantastic book. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That's why I said men sit in their caves. most men are content to be solitary and in their cave and just kind of with their own thoughts. In fact, many psychologists will say that a man that can do that can be comfortable in his own company, is probably one of the steadiest persons you can find. They don't need to seek outward and find validation in other people. That's something I haven't delved into. I can't really explain that. Smarter people can explain that one.
Well, so there are some people out there, and it's usually people with very low self-esteem, speaking from experience here, that they need that validation from other people because they cannot find it within themselves. And this is something I've been working on the past year or so, that they put their own needs aside and get addicted to people pleasing. Because when you're people pleasing, you get kudos, you get thank you, you're a lifesaver, you're a hero. It gives them a need,
a feeling of importance.
That they need because they're not getting it from themselves. So it's very, very destructive, very toxic. But
the side effect there I think you're reaching for is you have no boundaries.
Exactly. Yes. That is something that definitely suffers from it. You lose all boundaries, and people call you for every little thing. They like don't even try and solve things for themselves anymore. They just call you and ask you to help because they know you'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been trying to stop doing.
You lose your sense of self. Your self-identity just goes away, and the only thing that identifies you as a person is your value to others.
Exactly. It's kind of like that song from Encanto. I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can't be of service.
Great reference. Yeah, I mean, that was exactly it. That character, wow.
Louisa,
that was her entire identity, was being strong and being able to help everyone.
Yeah. Doing everything for everyone, like no one could do things on them for themselves.
Being able to round up the donkeys and put the church back on its foundation.
Yeah, and when you do that, you're hurting the other person too, because they're not learning how to fix their own problems.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword there. It's bad for you and it's bad for them, but you have that need to feel importance, so you still do it.
Yeah. And that kind of gets passed down generationally.
Yes, because something else that gets passed down generationally, thank you, is the guilt trip. My grandma was an expert guilt tripper. My mom is an expert guilt tripper. I probably am an expert guilt tripper. He's not going to say anything because he's smart. But I've been able to see through my mom's guilt trips and become immune to them.
It was not easy. I've had to watch this evolution, and I've tried to be rally behind you. Because the many times when you're like, okay, if I do this, mom's gonna say this. How much you want to bet? Mom's gonna do this and say this. It's like, I am not taking that bet.
Smart move.
She absolutely will.
I will give her this. Since she's had to deal with my grandparents' final arrangements and things like that, she has gotten a little bit better about making decisions. The past couple times I've texted her and asked her, do you want to do this or do that? She actually gave me an answer.
Whoa.
Usually I'll text her, do you want to do this or do that? And she'll say, whatever you want. I'm okay. Just do what you want to do.
Do you respond with, okay, me, ma?
No. No, I do that with something else. But because she was raised by a woman who was raised to not make waves. Be good. Don't inconvenience anybody else. And, just don't make waves. So she would not make a decision because she was so afraid that the decision she made might inconvenience somebody or make them mad or be the wrong decision. So she just would not make a decision. But when my grandparents passed away, she had a lot of decisions she had to make. So
yeah,
hard decisions too. So
it's so weird that Mima was that way about things.
Which means her mom was probably that way about things.
Well, there's a duality here and a conflict, because Mima, stepping from the outside looking in, the luxury of my position marrying into this whole dynamic is to be on the outside looking in. And yeah, I could totally see how Mima just like defers to other people, not making a choice for herself. I was like, and this is the same woman that while Papa was on deployment would have to make all the decisions. Famously, when they bought their house or getting the kids ready for school, it's like, it's her and 3 kids. Kids can't make decisions for squat. And when they do, it's usually the wrong decisions. Like, no, you are not wearing those clothes today. It is raining. You need your boots.
Well, like, they bought the house that they were been in the past 50 years until they passed away. And when they moved in, it was just the house and dirt. There wasn't even a driveway. And right after they bought this house, my grandpa got deployed.
Yeah.
And so my grandma had to put in, trust me, we've heard this story hundreds of times. She had to put in the lawn, put in all the trees, bring in somebody with dynamite to break up the hard pan, mix sawdust into the dirt so they can plant plants, put in the grass, put in the concrete, put in the driveway, put in the yard, put in the bushes, we heard these
stories.
Anytime you brought up my grandpa's military service, she said, well, I served too, and she told that story. With 3 kids, I had to do this.
And that's what's so weird. So weird. It's like, how is it the same person capable of making all of these executive level decisions of how to establish this household physically and operationally, and then also completely defer all decisions to others?
I think part of it is her generation, because she was born in the 30s, married in the 50s. Part of my parents were part of the baby boom. They were raising a family in a time where the men made the decisions. So she went, and especially a man who is in the military, retired a major.
Yeah.
He
drill sergeant for a while.
Yeah. The man made the decisions. So whereas, yes, she had to make decisions while he was deployed, if he was home, he made the decisions, and she was supposed to back his decisions no matter what. Because the man ran the household.
It's a good decision. Or, synopsis. That's a good synopsis.
Because they came from a different time period where, women were in the home, men brought the bread and made the decisions. So, I mean, things are different now.
Yeah.
But back then, in the 50s, that's how things worked.
Yeah. That's, up until women entered the workforce in mass, mid-70s, I think that was.
Well, when you're not counting them entering the workforce to make up for the men who went off to the war. But yeah, it became socially acceptable during peacetime for a woman to enter the workforce in the mid-70s.
Right. In that context, that's what I'm going at.
Yeah.
It was the man's job. Go out, gather resources so as to financially secure this household, and then
the woman stayed home and raised the kids.
Right. That was the dynamic. It took the 2 sides of that coin to make the whole operation work. Mid-70s, a lot of that changed, and it's really a whole different ballgame now for the average household. The 2 incomes barely making it. 2, if not 3. One of them's got two jobs. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But wow, we got way off subject.
I was thinking that a little while ago. So
I don't know. It was a pretty constructive. It was a tangent, but it was a pretty constructive one. So I have no regrets. No regrets.
So yeah, people can't keep engagements, and people can't dress themselves.
No, that was okay. Getting back to
the plot.
We're actually somewhat segueing because now we're talking about women into the workforce, and you made a great salient point about you could tell which women drop the kids off and then go to work, and which women go home and just watch TV or probably.
Well, I mean, I don't spend all day watching TV, but I am a stay-at-home mom, and I still get dressed before I take Lily to school, but I have one, and she's really good. So I am able to leave her alone for 5 minutes to go get dressed. Some of these women I see dropping off kids in their pajamas, sometimes they have one, but usually they have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
At least 2.
Yeah.
But, there's another mom in Lily's class that she's got 2 kids, and she gets herself dressed before she comes to school. So,
and, well, it's not even necessarily to broaden that spectrum or broaden that image. There are a lot of them dropping off the kids, and they're still in their pajamas. When I was at DPS, several times they had to make bulletins about professional dress.
Oh yeah, they did that when we were part of Amway too. It's like people did not know how to dress, and this was so hard for me to grasp that it's like, no, office attire, nice shirt, slacks, nice shoes, do your hair, do your makeup. This is office attire.
Leggings are not pants.
And
leggings
yoga pants are not office attire.
No.
And all these girls just could not get it. They could not get that you could not wear an oversized sweatshirt and yoga pants to work.
Yeah. DPS went through a few receptionists because they could not understand the idea of appropriate attire. The phrase appropriate attire. It's like, what did you think that meant?
Right?
It's just, and you still, 10 years ago it was a lot more. The yoga pants were everywhere, but you still see them around. You still see leggings. The leggings are not pants.
And as hard as it was for them to fathom, what is appropriate attire, is probably twice as hard for me to fathom that you can't figure this out. Because I went to work in an office where I had to wear office attire.
When you were, especially the insurance company you worked for.
Yeah, that and the storage, because I was actually dealing with people. I was like a receptionist. Right. So I had to wear a nice top, slacks, clean shoes, do my hair. Didn't always do my makeup, but I never do, so.
Makeup is optional. Mm-hmm. Makeup's optional. But, appropriate attire, comb your hair, show up on time.
Yeah.
Not hard. Especially if you just do that out of habit. And it's just, why is that so hard for somebody? It's hard for us to fathom that we do this so naturally. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that huge swaths of people seem to struggle with doing that. So it's just like, why can't you figure this out?
Well, in some cases, it's not just, office attire or looking nice. It's just getting dressed at all.
Yeah.
It's like we live next to a high school, and probably 50% of the kids I see going to high school are in their pajamas. Some of them are still wrapped up in a blanket with the hair that has obviously not touched a comb that day.
It's like watching somebody struggle to make a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's because, let's face it, getting dressed is not hard.
3-year-olds can do it.
Lily has been able to dress herself for years.
Yeah, she's autistic. And she's autistic. So can Lizzie, and she's even more autistic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's a more severe case.
And the ones that do dress themselves, they still look horrible. It's like some of the people we see with, wearing gym shorts and some jeans around their knees, and it's like they dressed themselves. Mommy didn't do it for them today. It's hard.
It's I mean, I remember you talking about when you were at storage, guys showing up for interviews.
A guy showed up
Crocs.
to an interview wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And I was like, just leave. You obviously aren't going to take this seriously. It's like, don't show up to a job interview in jeans and a t-shirt. No.
No. I mean, unless it's like construction.
Well, even then, you need to look nice. You always need to look nice for a job interview.
You're right. And here's what that is that conveys that not only are you taking this serious, that dressing up is a form of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And you will hear this from a multitude of the self-help people.
Mm-hmm.
Dress up, dress nice. And this speaks to self-respect. No one's going to take you serious until you
take yourself seriously.
Yeah. You have to do it first. You have to respect yourself. Treat yourself like you're someone worth looking up to, like you're somebody worth taking serious. If you can't take yourself serious and respect yourself, why on earth would anybody else do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no motivation for anyone else to even think about you.
Right.
It just so, and with that, it's like, and that's what boggles the mind, is everyone wants to be respected on some deep, conscious or unconscious level. We all want that feeling of importance. We want people to accept us, to maybe even look up to us, a feeling of a little bit of I matter. And yet, so many people are okay with treating themselves like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
The things that they need to do in their day that would contribute to them having a productive, worthwhile life just get left to the wayside, left to chance, just not addressed, not done.
Well, a lot of... go ahead.
And then it's no wonder that their lives spiral out of control. So, and it's just the two concepts are diametrically opposed to each other, and it's really confusing to me and really annoying.
Well, a lot of it got worse during COVID because a lot of people were staying home all day, and the ones that, did still work remotely only had to half look good, from the waist up.
Anchormanning it.
Yeah, anchormanning it. So, but even then, it was still expected from the office that you look decent for these group chats, Yeah,
that people were developing Instagram filters that as long as you sat here, it looked like you were wearing a suit until you moved.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's and once your group chat or, meeting was done, you just went back to laying around all day. And people got way too comfortable. That's why Trump had to sign an executive order saying, go back to work.
Oh, man. Listening to people whine about but my work-life balance. Oh, cry me a river. What about the rest of us that had to work through the
COVID?
pandemic, through all of this?
Yeah, Mark had to work through the whole pandemic because people needed mechanics.
Yeah, and, me and millions of others. Every blue collar guy
got no benefits at all whatsoever for having to go to work when there's a quote unquote pandemic.
Right? Millions of people. So. It's just but I've
gotten accustomed to not working.
Muscle up, Buttercup. You're not special.
You're an adult. Act like it.
Snowflake. So
really, it's really what it boils down to is I had a sweet gig where I didn't have to do anything and I got paid, and now they're expecting me to do something for it.
Yeah.
Can't I just get paid and not do anything?
Well,
I was doing? Why does it have to change?
Yeah.
It worked out so well for me.
Well, and it really proved something that Thomas Sowell said correct. And Thomas Sowell, easily one of the greatest minds of our times. You could pick up his podcasts or anything on YouTube, or one of his books. Definitely pick up one of his books. That if you take a group, take a big group of people, section off this group of people and give them preferential treatment for any amount of time, no matter how short. This group gets preferential treatment. You know, you've got 2 kids. You give each kid a cookie. Each kid gets a cookie, except for these kids over here. They get 2 cookies, and you do that for any amount of time. Doesn't matter how long or how short. You do that. Now you take this group that's been getting 2 cookies the whole time, and you take them back down to 1.
And they cry.
They will cry because they have gotten accustomed to that preferential treatment. And once you're accustomed to that, anything less than that preferential treatment feels like discrimination.
Never mind these other group of kids that had always been getting 1 cookie.
Right. No, that doesn't matter to them.
Mm-hmm.
That is their world. Well, that's just, each person is the center of their own universe.
Mm-hmm.
So the world their world, their personal world, is the one that matters to them. And that's just human nature. So they're going to cry and scream and kick and pitch a fit at, why is my life why is this thing being taken away from me?
And that's something that Elon Musk said when he was talking about, all these cuts he was making, stop giving Social Security to people who are dead,
Hey, skeletal lives matter.
He's like, the reason a lot of this stuff was just happening, money being given to companies that can't prove that they're doing anything with it, and they just money getting sent to people that they have no idea why they're sending people this money. It's like it was just kind of kept the way it was, and the backlash from society is proving this. It's like because people didn't want to cause upset.
Yeah.
If you're receiving money, obviously you're not upset. So keep sending the money. They won't get upset. But as soon as you say, you don't deserve this money, we're taking it away, now they're upset and they're going to cause a scene and yell and scream and say, why did you take my money away? It's like, well, you didn't deserve it. You didn't do anything for it. It's like, yeah, but you were giving it to me. Now you're not giving it to me anymore.
And Grandpa Simpson.
Yeah. I don't need it. I don't deserve it. I didn't do anything to earn it. But if they miss one payment, I'll raise hell. Yes, exactly.
That's why we love The Simpsons. They've given us a quote for everything.
Yeah. And he said that in an early interview, and like the backlash coming from these people are just proving him right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But I mean, I can't fathom what's wrong.
We were raised that you need to work for money.
Yeah, this is something, contrasting parents here a little bit, because my mom has always struggled to be on time too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she struggled as hard as your mom on that.
But she was on time compared to your stepdad.
Oh God.
Reluctant to even call him that.
He is definitely that person. It's an it. Can't even call him him. It's an it. Was so notorious. It was one of those people that if you wanted them there at noon, you said be there at 10. Because guarantee they were going to be late. And I didn't realize I was doing this at the time. In Little League Soccer, this is when my distrust and dislike of him really started. One of those watershed moments where you're just like, you realize I really cannot trust this person.
Mm-hmm.
I was never really into soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it, and these are all subconscious decisions. I'm 10, 12, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. This is like 5th grade, 6th grade. But I felt I needed to do it in order to measure up, and I had always done it. My brother was the natural athlete. He played soccer and baseball through most of elementary school. So of course, I, living in his shadow, played Little League Soccer. It was also a good way of getting me out of the couch or out of the house because I was the fat kid. Which, okay, yeah, that helped. I was really reluctant to do it. especially at that point, by about 5th grade, because so many things in life had changed, I just really didn't want to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe this was a chance for me to not have to do that anymore. But I ended up doing it anyways, getting into being put on a team in Little League Soccer. I didn't realize none of these were conscious decisions on my part. I just kind of went with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no real sense of agency. I couldn't make decisions when I was a kid.
Most kids can't.
Most kids can't, and I was no exception to that. I was just very much just wherever the wind blew me. And so but Rick implored and said he's going to help me with it. He's going to be there. He'll attend practices. When they get off work, he's going to come and, yeah. Well, this is early on, and him saying something still had some value, face value to it.
Until
the night they left me at the park.
And forgot.
Because so often I had, practice stops and I just walk home. I usually remembered to bring some extra shoes with me so I didn't have to walk home in my cleats and wear out my cleats and whatnot and ruin my cleats. And also, it's about half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile from the park to my house, to our house at the time. From Marks Ave to Emerson to Hughes, it's about a half mile. That's a long ways to walk in cleats.
Mm-hmm.
So I would usually remember to bring some extra shoes with me. But he was supposed to pick me up and bring me home. And he did make it to a few of the practices. But there was a couple times, more often than not, he did not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one time I thought I would really put it to the test. I don't know what was in my brain that day, but I just thought, I'm going to wait. I'm going to stay here at the park and wait for him to come and pick me up because he said he would. There's already been a couple times there he was really late. There was a couple times he did not show it up at all. There was times that I had left and he said he came by to look for me, looked all over the place and got really mad and he couldn't find me. Now they were worried and then they get home and I'm already home. Okay. Maybe that happened. I don't know. Maybe it was him trying to put on a good face. I don't know. But one night in particular, I decide I'm going to wait. So I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and it's getting dark. I wait. People have all left. I'm at this park by myself, and it's getting cold, and I'm continuing to wait. I have no idea what time it is. Sun has gone down. People have already come and like, hey man, are you okay, kid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm okay. Do you need a ride? No, I'm waiting. Someone's going to come get me. Like I found somebody else's jacket that they had forgotten there, and I put that over me. I'm just kind of sitting there on the ground, huddled under some random jacket. If I hadn't found that, universe provides, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Would have gotten really cold. Probably would have caught a cold. And sitting there waiting until finally it turns out to be like really late at night. He shows up. He had already gone home, played around on the computer for a while. Mom had made dinner, and they were sitting down to dinner and eating dinner when they realized, where's Mark? Did he stay over at his friend Matt's house? I don't know. Call over there. Well, it's a weeknight, so he probably wouldn't have done that. I had a habit of going to my friend Matt's house and sometimes staying the night or staying the weekend there. But that would be a Friday evening thing, and this was middle of the week. So I guess if memory serves, they called there. I wasn't there. I'm not at home. Oh my gosh! He had practice tonight! It's like the one thing that clued them that things were not okay was I didn't miss dinner. So finally at 7, I guess, because it's 5:30 by the time they get home. They put down their stuff. Mom starts making dinner, so it's at least 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. They're realizing things are not okay. Mark's not here. it's not like him to miss dinner and then have to jump back in the car and come all the way to the park and get me and find me there huddled under some lost jacket. That was when my disdain of him really started, because he was one of those people that's chronically late.
Makes a lot of empty promises. And probably, even while he's making these promises, he knows in the back of his head, even if it's not, the front of his mind, that I'm not going to keep these. I'm just going to say something that sounds good right now.
Yeah. Definitely one of those persons that has time blindness.
Oh, Lord.
And can't remember what... I could just spend the evening. Conversely, my dad was a stickler for being on time.
Oh, yeah.
Certain things were bound to happen at certain times. My dad, out of habit, would show up when we were delivering the bee. We got to the dock at, I want to say 1:30. 1:15, 1:30. Get up, get in the truck, go. Stop at the store, get a drink or a coffee, get down to the dock. Why? Because the truck that delivered the papers, the front page gets printed up that night.
Yeah.
And, all the sports sections and editorials and coupons were all done ahead of time. But the front page gets printed that night. They put it on a truck, move it over there, move it to the folding station. You get it off the truck and you fold it up and then you go deliver it. So, that's the process, or it was at that time. My dad, we're going to be at that dock at about 1:30. 1:15, 1:30, in that window. Because the truck is supposed to be there at 2. Now, my dad knew full well that truck was only going to be on time about 30% of the time. Mondays, it would actually run early, which was nice. If the truck was there before us, we're getting there at 1:30 and the truck's already there or is just arriving, bonus. We're going to finish early today. However, as the week goes on, the papers get bigger, the truck gets later and later and later and later. Sometimes that truck didn't get there till 3, 3:30 during the holidays, or if there was some sort of significant events like an election or what have you. That truck could, or if God help you, if the press broke for any reason, that truck wouldn't get there till 4. There were times where we're sitting there, it's like, it's almost dawn. It's almost dawn. Sun's almost at the horizon. We're still waiting.
And you get these old people calling, "Where's my paper?"
Because you were supposed to be done with your route by 5:30. So when it's 4 o'clock and you still don't have the front page yet, and it's going to take you at least a half hour to 45 minutes just to fold the thing, and then another 15 minutes or so just to drive from the station, which was downtown, to our routes, which were over by Fresno High.
Wasn't happening.
And it took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to deliver the routes.
Yeah, and the bee wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we got the papers late." They would say, "Oh, yeah, it's his fault. I'll get onto him for you."
Yeah. Sometimes we had a really good district manager. Our group, District 2, we were demons. We would murder managers. We went through managers about every 9 months. There was one that was a pretty tough guy. Pretty reliable guy, but these were cantankerous old men, and there was a little group of us. Cantankerous old men that had nothing more to do with their lives than to try and hold the bee accountable to its contract. Because you expect us to hold up our end of the bargain, bucko, you're going to keep up your end of the bargain. But, I picked up a lot of that from my dad, that be on time.
Yeah. See, whereas, it was kind of the opposite effect for me, because my mom was always late. I kind of developed complex about it to where I'm always early because I was always late as a kid.
You decided that you were not...
I'm not going to be that person because I know how rude it is. It's not saying my mom was trying to be rude, but if you're going to be late, just call and say, "We're going to be late."
Yeah.
Things happen. People understand. And unfortunately, it is like a majority woman thing because my mom was always running late. And for 1 year in school, I was hitching a ride with this other lady who, me and her daughter went to and my brother went to the same school. It was a lady from our church. She'd drop off her baby with my mom because my mom had daycare. We'd hitch a ride with her and she'd take us to school. And she was always running late. And so, like, first thing we do when we got to school, go in the office. We're late. Okay, we wrote it down. Get to class.
Yep.
And that was like something we had to do every single day. And it is just a childhood of having to be late to things gave me a complex. So it's like now I'm always like 5 to 10 minutes early for everything.
So much so that if I'm running late, getting back from like a store run or something, you text me like, "Hey, you okay?
Are you okay?" Yeah, like this past weekend, he was going to the store. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to be home soon. Yeah, I'm going to get a couple more things and I'm going to check out." Like 45 minutes later, he's still not home. Turns out he ran into one of our friends and was talking.
Yeah. Time got away from me on that one.
Yeah. And I was just like, shouldn't it be taking you this long?
It's only about a mile away. Where is he?
Yeah. It's like, that was a while ago. How long? He called me 45 minutes ago. So I'm like, you okay?
Yeah, I ran into so-and-so. She says hi.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But in the meantime, I'm sitting there worrying.
Yeah, I try not to do that.
Because let's face it, it's not the best area.
No. But I really want to speak to that for a second. I want to really applaud you for that, for deciding to break that cycle, because things that are passed, and they make memes about this. It's the person. It's like you've got the grandparent who yells at the parent.
Oh yeah, how it kind of goes down, trickles down.
There's one person on their knees with their arms out like this, shielding this child, shielding a small child. And it's like, that's, the meme of breaking the generational cycle. And it can be done. And there's a few things I've tried to do that with, but also there's a number of things that you've done that with.
And really, it comes down to two things. Like if somebody has, some sort of traumatic event, or I didn't have a traumatic childhood, whereas you did. If you have like some sort of traumatic event or something that, is not right in your childhood, you can do one of two things. You can make a conscious decision that you're going to do better and you're not going to do it. You're going to break that cycle, or you're going to use it as a crutch and fall into the exact same patterns for one more generation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take the crutch because it's easier.
Yeah. And, that speaks to human nature, that if you make it easier for people to do something, they will 100% do that thing. And that's, across a broad, huge spectrum of things that people do. And you're absolutely right. And it's not even a conscious, one is a conscious decision. The other is just circumstantial, subconscious decision. Continuing to perpetuate a pattern of behaviors, an inherited pattern of behavior, you don't even have to try.
Yeah, because you just say, this is just how my family is.
Yeah, it just comes automatic.
Yeah.
But it takes conscious effort and force of will to break out of that and go do something else. So, and that's hard. It's Sisyphus pushing his boulder, because at any moment you can catch yourself backsliding down into that morass of negative self-destructive behavior. And so you've got to constantly be climbing out of it.
Well, there's the grasping to not fall back into the same self-destructive behavior. And unfortunately, whenever somebody tries to do something different like that, they're ostracized by their family for doing it. It's like, how dare you say that we are imperfect? How dare you go against our family traditions? Who do you think you are? You think you're someone special?
You better remember where you come from.
You are going to get these people trying their absolute damnedest hardest to drag you back down because they didn't have the strength to do what you were doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've both gotten a dose of that in different ways. And it can come from different persons, and it will come in different ways. They will guilt you. They will be mad at you. They will try to, diminish your efforts in some way, slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's painful because you have to put up that, this is coming back to boundaries. You have to put up that boundary to say, no. It just, look, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that way. You can if you want, but know that there's an option for it. And this is something that comes up between me and my sister a little bit. I'll drag her through the mud for a little bit here. That
it's so easy.
It's too easy. It's too easy. And she does all the stereotypical things of, when we're looking at somebody who just cannot get their life together, like, they're struggling. It's the image, again, of somebody who struggles to make a peanut butter sandwich. Like, why are you pouring the jelly on the jar? This is not a hard concept. What are you doing? No, the spoon doesn't need to be in your pants. Oh, God.
Why do you even have a spoon?
Right. I mean, it's like watching Patrick open the jar.
On the lid.
Their hand on the lid. On the lid. On the lid. On the lid.
Freeze. Yeah.
A lot of these things. And it's like, I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. It's like, I do these things and it makes my life constructive. Why can't you?
Because she doesn't want to.
Right. And that's exactly what it is. It's not, I made conscious decisions to do different things. She makes just reflexive, emotionally gratifying decisions. Or actually, they're not even decisions. It's just a behavior pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just staying within a behavior pattern because it's easier. You don't even have to try. It just comes natural. It's just reflex. And it's all emotion.
And you can't blame your upbringing because you guys had the exact same upbringing.
Right.
Whereas you're actually making something, with your life, and she's just living off the government.
Right. And well, in many ways, her upbringing was actually much gentler than mine because she missed out.
Maybe that's what the problem is. Well, yeah, not the abuse.
To a limit.
She was, yeah. It's not good that she
missed out on the abuse.
Missed out on the abuse, or it is good she missed out on the abuse. But your mom spoiling her, your mom always making excuses for her, your mom coddling her, protecting her, and all that stuff. When you do that to a person, they don't know how to live.
Yeah.
And it's usually the firstborn or the lastborn, that ends up doing that.
Yeah. And that's actually very common. I've had chances to test that theory that it's like, the middle child syndrome. We're just kind of left over. We're the flyovers. We're the left behinds. I've gotten people that have been like other people that are middle children. It's like, wow, okay.
My mom was the middle child. And she's got the only one that's got her shit together.
Yeah, she's also got a huge complex, which I can totally sympathize. I totally sympathize with her on that. It's hard to not let that complex just eat your soul because you want to get so angry when you see how your siblings are treated, and it just feels like
they do nothing.
They're given infinite grace, and it just feels like you've had to struggle so much more, and just like it can eat you up. You can actually build resentments against people that have not actually done anything to injure you per se, but because
of the way they were treated compared
to what you've had to do, or their behavior pattern has been reinforced, whereas you've had to make conscious decisions to just get where you are. It can really build resentments, and it's hard not to. You want to be angry. You want to get mad. You want to just lash out of them and give them a piece of your mind. but you can't.
Well, right now, things are in a weird position for my mom. Because right now, her brothers are being nice to her because she holds their inheritance.
She's got all the cards.
She's got all the cards right now. She is going to do the right thing and honor my grandparents' wishes and follow the will to the letter. She's actually been working with an attorney on this. She will do what she's supposed to do. But right now, they're all being nice because she's the one who has to give them their inheritance. Once they get their payout, I told my mom, it's like, you're not going to see them again. Because she was saying that, something's going to happen. They're going to get really mad. It's like, well, even if that thing didn't happen, you were never going to see your brothers again. You're probably rarely even going to talk to them again. They're going to want nothing to do with you because the only thing that was keeping this family together was my grandparents. And they're gone. And that's something I knew going to my grandma's funeral. All this extended family that, only comes around for special occasions, I'm not going to see them again. I saw one again. She came to visit this weekend. So I saw her. But she's an absolute sweetheart. We love her. Yeah. And she's an absolute sweetheart. She's the only one who was willing to help my mom.
She's been consistently sweet.
Yeah. So all the other family is like, this is the last time I'm going to see you. I'm not going to see my cousins again. I'm not going to see my great aunts and my mom's cousins and stuff like that. We're not going to see them again. Why would we? My uncles, I'm not going to see them again. Why would they come? They're not going to come to visit us. They may have came to visit my grandparents.
It's really only about as likely as me getting a visit from one of my half siblings.
Exactly. So, yeah. So we kind of got out of subject, but
yeah, we're way out of bounds.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even get to the third thing we wanted to yell about.
What was it? Let's go do that now. Hey, what was the third thing?
Oh, God. Hard segue there. People aren't on time. Oh, people don't speak right. Literacy is dropping, and...
Well, there's always been a level of slang.
Well, yes. I mean, Victor Hugo did an entire chapter on it in Les Miserables.
But, yeah, like, people don't know how to talk and people don't know how to spell.
Yeah, which, as somebody with a learning disability, I have dyslexia, this really grinds my gears. I mean, this is something... Watching people that are otherwise neurotypical, meaning their brain works in a healthy manner, at least in theory.
May not work good.
They may not...
But they don't have a disorder...
Right.
bringing them down.
Right. So, and over the years, I've developed, I don't know if it's stigmatism or what, but like, over there where on the cassette player, I know that says auto stop, but it's very blurry because I have double vision or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so between that and dyslexia, reading is a challenge for me.
But you still make an effort to do it.
I do. And it's... The most constructive way of learning things actually is just putting a book in front of you and reading it and then analyzing it. But with today's busy world, a lot of people don't do that, and I can get that. Audiobooks are a fair substitute.
Mm-hmm.
But just and there's always been a level of slang. But one thing that I want to say about 10 years ago started was people using the wrong there.
That drives me nuts. There and your.
Yes. I mean, and this is something that speaks... Weird Al made a whole song about it. Mm-hmm. BCRU.
Our words, not letters.
Get it together. Use your spell checker.
Yeah, I've seen like, I've seen memes and it's like, there with the apostrophe RE. They fucking are. There, EIR. They freaking are. And it's like, just breaks it down with like a lot of curse words and like it's fucking yours. You fucking are. And you know, it's such a complex for me, and it's like I have to deal with it because our daughter doesn't know the difference.
No.
And she brings us these little invitations to go play with us. It says you're invited, but you are, and it's like you don't want to correct her. Don't correct her. It's fine. She's just playing. She doesn't know the difference.
Oh yeah, when she gives you an email because you're invited.
You're invited. Yeah. It's YOUR. It's like, don't correct her. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
We'll just keep working with her. This will get better over time. She's 9.
Not even.
Yeah, 8.5. But I mean, I see what are ostensibly adults doing this, and it's just, it grinds my gears. It's like, do you people not realize how insulting to history you're being right now?
Well, insulting to history aside, it just makes yourself seem uneducated, especially like if it's in a text or a post or something like that. A lot of people use talk text, which doesn't put punctuation in for you. There is like posts and texts we get that have no punctuation in them whatsoever. And it's hard to, one, it's hard to take you seriously. And two, it's hard to read the damn thing in the first place.
Because we have
just
friends.
One big run-on sentence.
We have friends that when they text, it's like you have to translate before you can, It's like, oh, hey, what did so-and-so say? Hang on, I have to translate this. Okay.
Yeah.
And come on, people, we can do better than this. We live in a fantastic time. We live in the 21st century. Technology has never been better.
See, that's the problem.
That's definitely a help and a problem at the same time.
That's the problem. People are using it to do all this for them. Oh, I don't need to be grammatically correct. Autocorrect will do it for me. Just like I don't need to pay attention when I'm driving. I got lane departure technology.
Yeah. Well, I'll play. Okay. Spell checkers are a fantastic tool. And, like anything, this is like an old shaman saying, the difference between medicine and poison is the amount used.
Well, spell checker is different than autocorrect. Spell checker means you had to actually type it out first, and then you go and say, how did I do? Right. Whereas autocorrect just fills in the blanks for you. You don't even need to try.
Right, which is, Foamy made that, that Foamy episode is like where Jermaine was getting a lot of messages because she used autocorrect to put out an ad where she needed help with a good cookbook and deck repair. But however, spelled autocorrect turned it into something else entirely.
Well, leave you to fill in the blanks.
Yes. A different kind of book and a different kind of repair. But I use spell check fairly often because of my spelling problem. And this is, people abuse these items. And talk text can put in punctuation, but you have to say it. You open it and it's like,
such
hey,
and such and such period, and such question mark.
Yes.
That's how you do it.
And
people are too lazy to even do that.
Another thing is emojis. GIFs and emojis. Some people communicate almost entirely in GIFs and emojis through text. And it's like, I can kind of see, this is a dumbing down of society. It's like, oh my God, are we returning to hieroglyphics? What are we doing here?
A lot of this started more than 10 years ago. I remember it 15 years ago when we were working with a guy who spoke mostly in text abbreviations.
Yes. LOL, JK. Yeah.
Yeah. BRB. CD, Beth. It's like, use English. I'm just K. And JK. CD. It's like, that's how we talked in the 70s. We didn't have a moment to spare.
Well, thankfully we're not that old. But
no, but that was the line for The Simpsons.
It's like,
that's how we talked in the early thousands. We didn't have a moment to spare.
You know, it just comes into that scene in Pulp Fiction. They speak English in what? I never heard no country. What? Say what again? Say what again?
What?
English. Do you speak?
But yeah, I saw, and what's really sad is a lot of the problems people are having with speaking. It's like, because people speak and sometimes you're like, I'm sorry, what? And, they're perfectly capable of saying English.
Yes.
But they purposely make them sound stupid because that's what this rapper does. That's what this R&B singer does. She don't know how to talk right. I'm not going to talk right.
Oh my God, Ebonics.
Like, well, not just Ebonics. It's just, not talking right. Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. No, it's not like that. It's like there's this video of some R&B, pop singer, not talented at all, but everyone thinks she's great singer, going to a McDonald's, and she's like, yeah, I want an 11-piece nugget. He's like, I'm sorry, what? An 11-piece nugget. Did you say an 11-piece nugget? Yeah, an 11-piece nugget. And they get mad at you because you can't understand them. And he's like, man, we don't have 11-piece nuggets.
I was about to say, no, that's not a thing.
Yeah. It's like she couldn't even say 11. She had to say 11.
It's like, did you have a stroke halfway through that word?
And these are the people that these...
Influencers. These
are people that are looked up to by people.
It's like, no, this is going to be our unending.
Yeah. It's like people don't realize. Well, okay, so a lot of people who are celebrities, one, they just don't care. And two, they don't realize the influence they're having on the people who idolize them.
Yeah.
And like these influencers or people on TikTok that go out and say stuff, they don't realize, the repercussions of what could happen. That's happening a lot right now with, people for no reason that they can identify themselves are attacking, Tesla dealerships.
That's just the mind virus at work. Yeah.
Well, like I saw this video of this guy walking around with a microphone at like some Bernie Sanders rally. He's like, what do you think of Elon Musk? It's like, oh, I hate Elon Musk. I just want to take that guy down. Yada yada yada. It's like, okay, why? Well, like, what did he do that made you so angry? Well, he's just he
data not found.
Yeah, data not found. They don't know because they're just going on what was they were told to do.
It's like you can see the NPC emoji is like just circle error number 404 file not found.
But like and those were adults, but they were just doing what they were told. But I saw this video earlier today of this girl who had made a prank call to 911. She's like an 11-year-old girl. She made a prank call to 911 saying she was behind somebody on the interstate and he had a kidnap victim with him. And so they had, cops racing around this interstate looking for this description of this van that might have a kidnapped child in it. And they're not finding anything. And these were coming through texts. Apparently you could text 911 now. And they were able to trace.
When did that start? Because I remember seeing PSAs about, it's like, don't text 911. You have to call them.
Yeah. Well,
unless that's a regional thing.
Maybe. I don't know. But it was somewhere other than California. I think it was back east somewhere. But they called the number back and she'd answer, but then she wouldn't say anything and she'd hang up. They're starting to realize, okay, there's something else going on here. So they trace the number and find out they're not on the interstate at all. They're at a house. So they go to that house and they meet her father in the yard, explain what's happening. And they bring her out and she's like, it took a long time to get her to admit, I saw it on a YouTube video where someone said it would be funny if you prank called 911. And as harsh as it was for her, she needed to learn a lesson. So they said, this is a felony. You are under arrest. You're taken to our juvenile center and you're being booked for several felonies that you just committed because you followed this YouTube video that said it would be funny if you text 911 and said, such and such, kidnap victim.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling she's not going to do that again. And she's going to be very careful about the challenges on the internet that she follows.
I mean, and that's a great example of, internet challenges and these pranks are a great example of one is like, we got to live in a simulation. Right. Because NPCs are everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's like there's no other reason, like the 911 challenge, the ice bucket challenge, the milk crate challenge, planking, owling, whatever it is. There's no logical reason why a person would look at a stack of milk crates and then run up it at full speed. Nobody would like.
It's like, this isn't going to end well.
Right.
All the other hundreds of videos you watched saw these people falling down and hurting themselves. What makes you think you're going to have a different result?
Right. I mean, so then these people protesting out there and setting Teslas on fire, all that is this is the newest version of the ice bucket challenge. Mm-hmm. People pouring buckets of water on themselves. They don't know why they're doing it.
And that wasn't even like the ice bucket challenge. The ice bucket challenge was supposed to be either you donate or you get ice dropped on you.
Right.
You donate to a charity, and if you won't donate, then you sponsor somebody. And, say this person has to do it. And either they donate to the charity or they get ice water dumped on them. People just took the ice water dumped on you and ran with it.
Yeah, and then, tagged their friends in it, so they had to go do it too.
And Patrick Stewart, gotta love the man. Love this man. Did an ice bucket challenge, and he did it right. And shows him
writing a check.
Tears it, sets it aside, pulls out an ice bucket, puts 2 buckets in his drink, pours himself a drink, cheers, and drinks it. That's how you do the ice bucket challenge. But that happened so long ago.
Thank you, Sir Patrick Stewart.
That happened so long ago. People are probably going to be like, the ice bucket challenge. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's getting late.
10 o'clock. Yeah.
Hey, you've got an alarm on your phone.
Yeah, I got an alarm on my phone. So.
Yeah, I meant for us to only go for an hour. We're approaching an hour and a half. So let's wrap up.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're all riled up and angry now. Damn kids.
Damn kids with your hipping and your hopping.
Pull up your damn pants.
Yeah, we've shook our fist at the clouds and yelled enough.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just gotta vent. And just people.
Just try a little harder. We don't expect you all to look like, we're not all going to walk around in suits and, look like 1920s mobsters. And it'd be cool if you did, though.
Be a lot cooler.
Really cool.
Be a lot cooler if you did. But we're all not going to speak like the founding fathers, or at least not the way the founding fathers wrote. Well, that just gets, that's a fun thing to think about. It's like, we always think of these guys as being
very articulate and well-spoken and stuff like that. Benjamin Franklin wrote an essay once to a university telling them that they should investigate what causes farts and how to stop them.
Didn't he do that as a prank?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a satire, but...
I mean, come on. They're a bunch of guys. At some point they're sitting around lighting their farts. Okay? Guarantee somebody...
all the founding fathers were once boys, and they did boy things.
Yes. Well, I mean, even, army camps are army camps are army camps. The Good
Boys
Idea
will
Fairy.
Be boys. The Good Idea Fairy loves army camps, especially when they're all men army camps.
As they almost always were, especially back then. Guys.
The Good Idea Fairy just loves a group of men, 2 or more.
When we get out of our caves and gather in groups, it gets dangerous.
See, this is why they don't do it that often. But anyway, go on.
Well, we have to make sure we help perpetuate the species somehow. That comes first.
I'm sorry.
I forgot where I was going with this.
You were just talking about the founding fathers lighting their own farts.
Okay, no, okay. So we're not always going to dress in suits. We're not always going to sound like the Declaration of Independence, really wordy and really smart. But we don't have to sound like a bunch of freaking morons. You can wear your clothes that are appropriate sizes and wear them in an appropriate manner. Don't wear Crocs.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Nobody looks good in Crocs.
No.
Stop shaving your heads. At least most people stop, nobody looks good with a face tattoo, face piercings, especially women. Please stop with the nose rings. Stop. Just don't. Nobody thinks that's attractive. Things like that.
Well, the women who get nose rings are the ones usually feminists who say we don't need no man anyway, but no man wants them, so it's dumb.
It's like, when guys see that, it's like, who else gets nose rings? Cattle. Hogs and cattle. So if you want to put yourself on that level, that's up to you. But we can do better. We've been better. We all see pictures, the meme of, hey, I found a picture of your grandfather. Now I found a picture of your grandfather and some guy in a suit standing next to his hot rod. 50 years from now, hey, I found a picture of your grandfather and it's somebody doing something weird with an Instagram filter.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can do better. We've been better.
It's like, I would like to think, I'm not sure if it actually is, that eventually the pendulum will swing back the other way and we'll start to take a little bit more pride in our appearance and, get dressed when we leave the house and not wear Crocs. But
well, okay, I'll give you this uplift before we leave here.
Okay.
There is hope. There are people out there that take themselves serious.
Wow.
There are people out there that treat themselves like somebody worth respecting. And they just happen to be mostly center right or far right. They get up in the morning, they get dressed, they comb their hair, they brush their teeth, and they do all these things. And it really speaks to going back earlier when you said people who make the conscious decisions to try and improve themselves will always tried to be dragged down by those who don't. That just perpetuate the behavior of negative actions.
Right.
Because that's what's easier, it's just what feels comfortable, and there's people around them that tell them, they sit there in a circle patting each other on the back, telling each other that this is the way it needs to be. And that the people that choose to not do that take themselves seriously and give themselves self-respect, they're weird.
Or who do they think they are?
Yeah. They're just stuck up sticky bits that think they're better than everyone else. You don't want to be stuck up sticky bit that, you're one of the cool guys down here with your face piercings, rolling out of bed at the crack of noon. But there are swaths of people, and you can they can, without getting too far into politics again, try not to, but there is a cultural divide between those who respect themselves and those who revel in their degeneracy.
Well, I mean, you say far right, and, that is true. Just about anyone on the right is going to, take themselves a little bit serious. But there are people middle left.
Yes.
Like middle to left. It's usually the far left extremists or just the people who are living off the government.
Fair point. Okay, fair point. The people that have,
there are Democrats who can trust themselves.
Yes. But I'm just trying to, that there is a culture swing happening, and I see it on my X feed of people who treat themselves as someone worth respecting and build themselves into a respectable person, and then they go forth and respect others.
Well, sorry, in the sake of fairness here, that goes on both sides, because you got the far left extremists that are just off their rockers, but then you've got the hillbillies.
Oh God, yeah,
on the right.
Bubba J.
You got the Bubba J's on the right, so we're not all squeaky clean either. So
nope. Nope, you're right.
So just
You
in
are
the
correct.
sake of fairness, you got people on both sides that are like that.
Yeah. The Jeff
The
Dunham
white
doll.
trash trailer park people.
The Jeff Dunham doll Bubba J is a great image of that. Ooh.
The people who watch NASCAR. NASCAR, huh? Yeah, NASCAR.
400-pound armchair quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not just we're not squeaky clean either, but
Well, no, you're right, and that's why I say it goes beyond. To try not to get too political, it is. Those people need to learn the same lessons as the other group of people of do better for your life, and so it is there. This cultural rot exists outside of that. It's just that there is a group. There are people out there. Trying to articulate that there is a bright spot, and that the future might look bright on this. That there is a cultural swing happening of take care of yourself, respect yourself, take yourself seriously. There are people out there doing it. There is this groundswell happening. I see it in my X feed, and it kind of makes me feel like, wow, I should try to shave more often. At the very least, shave more often. Yeah. I got lazy today. I was actually, just before we went on, I kind of ran over to my grazer. Okay, at least it's not shabby looking.
you need to shave when Lily comes up and starts messing with your face because it feels funny.
Yeah. She likes to play with the textures.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we can try better. And, even us, we can stand to do better as well. So everyone can always better themselves. It's just a conscious decision to do it.
Yes. Perfectly said.
So on that note, it's late. I'm tired.
Yep. The alarm went off about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So we will see you next time. Thanks for being here. Please help the channel grow. Hit the like, subscribe, tell a couple friends. Go down in the comment section if you like the show. If you've got a few ideas, what are you doing to build your life? If you think we're just a couple of boomers yelling at being stupid, let us know. Either way, just let me know in the comments.
We're not going to stop.
No.
But, you're entitled to your opinion.
Hey, free speech.
Yeah. So,
all right.
toodles.
Bye.